Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy? Sports and Fitness Rants. I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Got another great video for you guys today, as usual, man. You guys know the deal on this channel. We must continue to set the record straight. Stop the lies. Stop the narratives, guys. Stop them from rewriting history and bending reality, man. It's always been going on. Everyone that speaks, they just try to rewrite history and bend reality. That's all I keep hearing from a lot of these ex-NBA players, these fake analysts, these broadcasters, is a bunch of rewriting of the NBA's history, bending of reality, man. I don't understand why these guys just can't have keep their integrity, keep the honor, be honorable. You can have your opinion, but at least base it off of the actual reality, man. And like I said, man, keep your integrity, guys. You guys are a bunch of liars, man, and make no sense. And we're going to talk about Shawn Kemp in this video, man, because I know you guys probably heard what Shawn Kemp said. And I like Shawn Kemp, man, but he said some nonsense about it wasn't Michael Jordan that beat them in '96. It was Dennis Rodman. Or Dennis Rodman beat us, not MJ. That's what he said. Something like that. He was on the I don't know, Up in Smoke or whatever it is, podcast. These guys, they got to shut these podcasts down. Stop having these guys. Please stop asking people about Michael Jordan. These people are ridiculous, man. Just stop talking about Michael Jordan. This is what I'm talking about. People are like, oh, you're always talking about LeBron James. No, they're always talking about Michael Jordan, man. Stop the nonsense. Shawn Kemp, you sound ridiculous, man. And this isn't the first, time he said some nonsensical things. We're going to talk about in this video, guys. Because we got to set the record straight here, man. My goodness. And you guys, man, I want to thank everybody out there, man, for real. Everyone across the world, everyone across the states, man, that's been supporting my channel, guys. Thank you, guys, for all the support, man. It means a lot. I am truly humbled, man, for real. And you guys know what to do. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So, yes, guys, like I said, man, we'll touch briefly on these Shawn Kemp comments that he made the other day on that podcast, man. These guys kill me, these podcasts. All these ex-NBA players with their podcasts, man. And they always have to have another NBA player on there. And they always got to tell some story. Oh, we got a story about Michael Jordan. Oh, we got a story about this guy. Oh, we got a story about that guy. They always got to tell some stories, man. And we all know they be embellishing these stories, man. They be over-exaggerating. And like I said, they be bending reality and twisting the actual history of what happened. And Shawn Kemp said some comments about Michael Jordan. It wasn't Michael Jordan that beat them, Dennis Rodman. It was Dennis Rodman that beat them in the '96 finals. Now listen, off the top, Dennis Rodman was very good in the '96 finals. No one's ever taking anything away from Michael Jordan's teammates. See, this is what these people try to start with. Oh, people try to act like Michael Jordan ain't had no help. It was Michael Jordan. No, man. No. Stop it right now. No one's ever said that. When I was growing up in the 90s, guys, when we were watching this stuff growing up, what did you always hear people say? Michael Jordan was carrying the Bulls. You heard people say this. The broadcasters routinely said Michael Jordan was carrying the Bulls. And why did they say Michael Jordan was carrying the Bulls? It wasn't because Michael Jordan was getting all the rebounds. Michael Jordan was getting all the assists. He was the only guy playing defense. No, it's because Michael Jordan on the offensive end carried the Bulls. That's what he did. I've told you guys on this channel, Michael Jordan never played with another scorer that could get you a basket consistently at a high level. At a high level, guys, consistently. Scottie Pippen was never that dude. Orlando Woods was never that dude. He couldn't get baskets at a high level consistently when it mattered most. Orlando Woods played down. Horace Grant, Bill Cartwright, Tony Kukoc, Ron Harper, none of these guys were scorers, man. Yes, they could score, but they weren't consistently great scorers. These guys are averaging 14 points, 15, 16 points a game, if that. They're not scorers. So when people would say Michael Jordan's carrying the Bulls, they were often referring to the offensive end and the amount of offensive dominance Michael Jordan had to play with for the Bulls to be successful. Go through all the finals Michael Jordan played in, guys. If Michael Jordan averages 26, 27 points a game, right, for his entire career in the finals, right? 6 points less than his average. This guy averaged 33 points a game in the NBA Finals, guys. If Michael Jordan averages 27, 25, 26 points a game in the finals, the Bulls probably lose every one of those finals. Every single one, guys. If he averages 25 points a game in these finals, they probably lose. Maybe they win one. Maybe. But I doubt it. Michael Jordan was the offense for the Chicago Bulls. So if we keep that in memory off the top, then right there that shows you in 1996, Michael Jordan was the Finals MVP. He led the Bulls in scoring every single game, and it wasn't even a thing, guys. He averaged 27 points a game in the NBA Finals, and people will say he choked in those finals. You hear this? Oh, Michael Jordan choked in the 96 finals, but his team won 4-2. How did he choke? Only Michael Jordan gets credited for choking when his team won 4-2. The Bulls, guys, were up 3-0 on the Seattle Supersonics. Now, when we think about the Dennis Rodman aspect, and Shawn Kemp says it wasn't Michael Jordan who beat them, it was Dennis Rodman. What Shawn Kemp is missing in this whole thing is the fact that, once again, the Bulls were up 3-0 on the Supersonics. In those first 3 games, you could say that Dennis Rodman was the key in Game 2. Game 2, he was a monster. Had like 11 offensive rebounds, right? A lot of second opportunities for the Bulls. But who were those second opportunities for? For Michael Jordan, who had to capitalize on those. Also, when we think of the first 3 games, the Bulls won 3-0, you could easily say in Games 1 and in Games 3, Michael Jordan led the Bulls easily. Yes, Dennis Rodman in Game 2 was dominant on the board. You could give him Game 2 and say he was the most valuable player for Game 2. No doubt about it. But Games 1, Games 3, it was Michael Jordan and then maybe Tony Kukoc, right? Maybe Scottie Pippen, right? These are the facts, guys. But people don't talk about these things. Shawn Kemp will just say Dennis Rodman was kills on the rebounds. And a lot of people say the same thing. Oh, look at Dennis Rodman's offensive rebounds. Look at the rebounds he had in that series. I want those people who believe that Dennis Rodman was crushing on the offensive boards, which he was. I want you guys to go back and explain to me, what great rebounder was Dennis Rodman going against? I'm trying to figure this out. Dennis Rodman did what he was supposed to do. He dominated the glass against a team that was not one of the great defensive rebounding teams or one of the great rebounding teams in the NBA. What great rebounder or really good rebounder did the Seattle Supersonics have? Their best rebounder was Shawn Kemp. Shawn Kemp, who's not known for being a great rebounder. He's a good rebounder, not a great rebounder, Shawn Kemp. Shawn Kemp uses athleticism, his jumping ability, right? His ability to get up on the first jump and then the second jump to get rebounds. But he wasn't always a great rebounder. Who? Frank Brakowski? Detlef Schrempf? Who? Irving Johnson? Sam Perkins? The Seattle Supersonics' strength, guys, was their perimeter defense. That was their strength. So essentially what I'm saying to you guys is this. Michael Jordan was going against the strength of the Seattle Supersonics, their strength, which was the perimeter defensive players, like a Gary Payton, obviously, a Nate McMillan, a Hersey Hawkins. These guys were known for their defensive ability, the intensity, the effort they gave on defense. That was the strength of Seattle's team, forcing steals, forcing turnovers, playing great perimeter defense, forcing teams into tough shots, right? Making you work for it. So, essentially, Michael Jordan was going against the strength of the Seattle Supersonics. Meanwhile, Dennis Rodman was going against their weakness. So, essentially, Dennis Rodman exploited the Seattle Supersonics' weakness, which was the interior rebounding. So we're supposed to give Dennis Rodman credit for doing what he was supposed to do against no resistance, little to no resistance, going against Frank Brakowski? Like, Shawn Kemp said things like, oh, Frank Brakowski, that was our guy. And he took Frank Brakowski out the game. What? What are you talking about, Shawn Kemp? What the hell are you talking about? All I saw during the 96 finals was everyone trying to stop Michael Jordan. I saw Gary Payton trying to stop Michael Jordan. I saw Hersey Hawkins guarding Michael Jordan. I saw Detlef Schrempf guarding Michael Jordan. I saw Michael Jordan being guarded by Shawn Kemp in the post. Everyone was trying to stop Michael Jordan, guys. That was the whole point. When people talk about Dennis Rodman's rebounding and how great he was on the glass, we're not going to talk about how Michael Jordan was allowing Dennis Rodman to get these uncontested rebounds. When Michael Jordan realized he was struggling with the jump shot throughout the series, what did Michael Jordan proceed to do? He put the pressure on the Seattle Supersonics defense by attacking the lane. Look at game 1. He shot 10 free throws. I think there was one game he shot 16 free throws. He was putting the pressure on the Sonics defense by attacking them, not settling for jump shots. The shots weren't falling down. Michael Jordan attacked the rim. So what would happen? Michael Jordan would drive the lane, past Gary Payton, past Hersey Hawkins, Detlef Schrempf, whoever it was. And then what would happen? The defense would collapse on Michael Jordan in the lane. Shawn Kemp, Irvin Johnson, Sam Perkins, Detlef Schrempf, these guys coming over to help, which leave Dennis Rodman on the backside, wide open for these uncontested rebounds. That's not taking anything away from Dennis Rodman, but that goes to Michael Jordan being the MVP. He's on the court, allowing Dennis Rodman to get these rebounds by forcing the defense to collapse on him. That's basketball, guys. That's Michael Jordan being a valuable player. helping Dennis Rodman. So when people say, oh, Dennis Rodman got all these second chance opportunities for the Bulls, yes, that may be true. But a lot of those came off of Michael Jordan collapsing the defense and Dennis Rodman standing there for an offensive rebound if he missed a shot. How many times did Michael Jordan drive the lane, get hit, miss a shot, and there was no foul called? Dennis Rodman grabs a rebound. So Shawn Kemp, you sound ridiculous, man. And like I said, I like Shawn Kemp. This is no knock on him. I like this career. I actually think that Shawn Kemp has an argument for Hall of Fame. Since they've lowered the standard for the Hall of Fame, Shawn Kemp should be in. They're saying Drew Holiday should be in the Hall of Fame. If that's the case, then Shawn Kemp should definitely be in the Hall of Fame. But the guy says crazy things. It doesn't add up. And once again, just because these guys play in the NBA, and listen, I'm not knocking Shawn Kemp. If that's his opinion, that Dennis Rodman beat them and it wasn't Michael Jordan, that's fine if he believes that. But to say it the way that you say it, it doesn't add up. If you want to say, hey, man, Dennis Rodman was killing me out there, he was killing us on the glass, that's one thing, because he was. You could say and give him his props, give him his just due. You don't say that we couldn't stop Dennis Rodman on the glass, man. He was a problem for us. But to say that Michael Jordan didn't beat you, it was Dennis Rodman, once again, you sound like an idiot because it's disingenuous. It's not the facts. It was Michael Jordan that added to Dennis Rodman's greatness on the boards. It helped Dennis Rodman. The second chance opportunities the Bulls got, that's Michael Jordan capitalizing on these things. It was Michael Jordan forcing these guys and putting the pressure on their defense, right? Getting Gary Payton in foul trouble, Hersey Hawkins, right? Detlef Schrempf, all these guys, man, making them work. It takes away from their offense. What did Hersey Hawkins do offensively in that series? What did Detlef Schrempf do offensively in that series? Gary Payton, how great was he offensively? They weren't that great offensively because they were using a lot of energy guarding Michael Jordan. Are they guarding Dennis Rodman? No. Like I told you, when Michael Jordan drove the lane and they're collapsing on Michael Jordan, they're double teaming him and stuff, that leaves Dennis Rodman on the backside against who? Irvin Johnson? Detlef Schrempf? Frank Bukowski? Dennis Rodman did what he was supposed to do. He dominated a team that didn't have any dominant rebounders. Right? Think about it, guys. His rebounding improved. Where were all the offensive rebounds around before against the Orlando Magic? He didn't dominate the glass on the offensive rebounds like that against the Orlando Magic in 96, did he? No, he didn't. But he dominated more against the Seattle Supersonics. They didn't have a Shaquille O'Neal down low. They didn't have some of the big bodies or the rebounding prowess of some of the guys that the Orlando Magic had, or Horace Grant. So Dennis Rodman exploited them. He did what he was supposed to do. But Michael Jordan had to go against the strength of the Seattle Supersonics defense, which was their perimeter defense. Right? The way that they made teams take difficult shots, the way that they forced turnovers and steals. Michael Jordan was going against that defense. Where was Scottie Pippen at in the 96 finals? This one goes back to me telling you guys, Michael Jordan carried them offensively. In 1996, guys, Michael Jordan was the only player to score over 100 points in those finals. Scottie Pippen didn't go over 100 points, not Tony Kukoc. Neither one of those guys went over 100 points. Michael Jordan was carrying the Bulls on the offensive end. What did Dennis Rodman average? 7 points a game in those finals? No doubt he was a rebounding machine. He did his thing and he played good defense. But once again, when you talk about Dennis Rodman's defense against Shawn Kemp averaged a double-double. He averaged like 24, 25 points a game, like 10 or 11 rebounds. So it wasn't like he was shutting down Shawn Kemp. He did what? He frustrated Shawn Kemp. He made him work. He frustrated guys like Frank Bukowski. But are we going to sit there and say and act and believe that Michael Jordan was just scoring? Michael Jordan was just scoring out there. He did nothing else. Here's what I'm saying. A lot of people that will say, like a Shawn Kemp or some of these other people that will jump on the bandwagon and say, oh yeah, Dennis Rodman should have got the Finals MVP in 96. It's a joke. It's laughable at best, guys. Once again, this is not saying that Dennis Rodman wasn't good or wasn't a key factor here. He wasn't the X factor though, guys. It was Michael Jordan. He was the difference maker. Because once again, Michael Jordan carried the Bulls offensively, carried them. Right? What did Scottie Pippen average in the finals that year? 15 points a game, guys? What did he average? Does anybody remember? 16 points a game? 17 points? I'm trying to remember. What did he average? And that was supposed to be his second best teammate, scoring the ball-wise. But he wasn't there. He shot 39%, guys. 39% and 69% from the free throw line. Scottie Pippen in the NBA Finals. Or for the playoffs, I believe. It might have been for the finals. Some horrific numbers from Scottie Pippen on the offensive end. Right? It was guys like Luke Longley, Tony Kukoc, Ron Harper here and there chipping in to help Michael Jordan offensive end. There was no Scottie Pippen consistently there. He was nowhere to be found. Now let's take it a step further here. We talk about Michael Jordan, guys, and we talk about the 96 finals, and people want to say Dennis Rodman should have got the finals MVP because his rebounding and defense on Shawn Kemp. Once again, I just explained to you guys, Shawn Kemp led the Sonics in points and rebounds. He averaged a double-double in the finals. So he didn't shut down Shawn Kemp. He frustrated Shawn Kemp. He got him in foul trouble once in a while. How often was Dennis Rodman in foul trouble, though? Right? See, no one wants to talk about these things that Michael Jordan was doing outside of the scoring. Michael Jordan's leadership in the 96 finals. How many times did Michael Jordan pull Dennis Rodman back from getting ejected or getting another foul? Look how many fouls Dennis Rodman had in those 6 games. I believe he averaged almost 5 fouls a game. I think he had 28 fouls, guys, in 6 games. That's almost 5 fouls a game, guys. Almost 5 fouls a game. So Dennis Rodman is putting the Bulls in a bad spot by putting the South Supersonics on the free throw line, putting the Bulls in the penalty, putting himself in foul trouble. Michael Jordan having to grab Dennis Rodman, get Dennis Rodman the focus during those series. Right? Him going back and forth with Shawn Kemp, him going back and forth with Frank Bukowski, going back and forth with George Karl. This Dennis Rodman, the antics of Dennis Rodman, which goes to his greatness, but that also goes to Michael Jordan and the leadership of Michael Jordan, having to control Dennis Rodman, reel him in, get him back focused. No one gives Michael Jordan credit for these things. That goes to Michael Jordan's leadership in the 96 finals, keeping everybody together, keeping these guys heading the games. What other crazy player you seen like that in NBA's history? Michael Jordan had to deal with this guy, crazy Dennis Rodman, right? As great as he was just as crazy. Right? So you had to figure out how to control that, and Michael Jordan did that. Also, we think about Ron Harper in the 96 finals, guys. Sometimes you'll hear people say, oh, well, Nate McMillan got hurt in game 2 or whatever game it was that he got hurt in. He wasn't doing that good, and he was trying to tough through the season, tough through the series. And Nate McMillan's a very solid defensive player, no doubt about it. But once again, when people bring up Nate McMillan, are we going to sit here and act like Ron Harper wasn't hurt? Ron Harper got hurt in game 2, I believe it was. And in game 3, only played 1 minute. So Michael Jordan had to cover for Ron Harper. He had to guard Gary Payton. He had to guard Hersey Hawkins. He had to guard all these other guys. Right? So he had to take that assignment on. Take on that role. The leadership, the ownership, the responsibility of Michael Jordan. He took on that role. When Ron Harper went down, but no one brings up Ron Harper getting hurt. They'll talk about, yeah, well, Nate McMillan got hurt, and that really hurt the Seattle Supersonics. So Ron Harper wasn't hurt? Who was more valuable? Ron Harper, their starting point guard, or Nate McMillan? Once again, you had Gary Payton still there, and you still had Hersey Hawkins there. You still had Detlef Schrempf. Like, what are we saying here, man? Once again, they're always making excuses for Michael Jordan's competition, why he won, or to some degree. It's a joke, man. The Bulls dealt with many injuries throughout their playoff runs, throughout the finals. Stop nonsense, man. Where was Ron Harper? Ron Harper played 1 minute in game 3. I believe he played 13 minutes in game 4. And I believe he played 1 minute in game 5. So what the hell are we saying? The man played 15 minutes over the course of 3 games. 3 games. And he was the main defender against Gary Payton in those first couple of games. They were calling Ron Harper the mitten. In those first couple of games because of the defensive effort he gave on Gary Payton. But they want you to believe that Dennis Rodman was the finals MVP because of his rebounding? Michael Jordan picked up the slack when Ron Harper went down. Michael Jordan did that. And carried them on the offensive end. Remember, everyone fed off of Michael Jordan, that triangle. Right? The Bulls were struggling of 3 games to nothing. And then the Bulls started struggling. Why? Because Michael Jordan was struggling shooting the ball. Everyone feeds off Michael Jordan. So Michael Jordan continued to attack the rim, put the pressure on Gary Payton and the rest of the Seattle Supersonics defense. Get to the free throw line. Knock his free throws down. I believe he shot 84% from the free throw line in that series. Scottie Pippen shot like 69. It was Michael Jordan, guys. Once again, we're not saying that Dennis Rodman wasn't a key factor or that Ron Harper didn't play a role. Tony Kukoc stepped up in some of those games. Luke Longley in game 6 stepped up and hit some key open jump shots. We're not saying that. But for anyone like Shawn Kemp to say that Michael Jordan didn't beat them, it was Dennis Rodman, it sounds ridiculous, guys. Absolutely ridiculous. Once again, it was Michael Jordan's leadership, his effort, his intensity, both sides of the ball that pushed the Bulls over the edge. It was Michael Jordan, guys. Yes, Rodman helped. Scottie Pippen, Harper, Kukoc, Longley, Steve Kerr. These guys all chipped in. Another thing they won't mention, though, Michael Jordan played more minutes than anybody in that finals. So Michael Jordan led the Bulls in minutes played, not Dennis Rodman, not Scottie Pippen. It was Michael Jordan. Led them in minutes played in that series. Like I said, on both sides of the ball, man, playing defense, going against Gary Payton. Remember, another thing people say, oh, Gary Payton, if he would have played Michael Jordan from the first game, the series would have been different. Stop that. Once again, Gary Payton was guarding Michael Jordan from game one. Yes, they may have started deadlift shrimp on Michael Jordan at the beginning of the game, but everyone rotated on Michael Jordan. Stop the nonsense. Hersey Hawkins was guarding him. Like I said, deadlift shrimp was guarding him. They double-teamed him. Gary Payton was guarding him. I saw Shawn Kemp guarding Michael Jordan. What are we saying? They threw everyone they could at Michael Jordan. And once again, Michael Jordan still led them to the victory. Michael Jordan played the most minutes of anyone on the Chicago Bulls. And like I told you guys, he led them. The leadership, right? The play on both sides of the ball. The rebounding. I believe Michael Jordan was right behind Dennis Rodman in rebounds in a couple of those games. He led them in assists in a couple of those games. But they want to talk about Dennis Rodman. He beat us. It wasn't Michael Jordan. Shawn Kemp, you sound ridiculous. I want everybody to remember that Shawn Kemp is the same guy that said that Larry Bird would be James Harden in this era. Shawn Kemp said that. And I'm going to do a video on that because it's insane to me. But he said that. He said Larry Bird would be James Harden in this era. I mean, we all know Shawn Kemp was battling demons off the court. And that kind of derailed his, the end of his career. And I still think he's feeling the effects of those things. Because for him to say some of these statements, it don't add up. And you saw him in the interview. He looked like hell. Let's be honest. Shawn Kemp looked like hell in that interview, man. He looked crazy, man. These guys don't take care of themselves. And you can tell his mind is mush. And like I said, I respect him giving Dennis Rodman his props and saying Dennis Rodman was killing on the boards and this and that and the antics and the mind games. And yes, Dennis Rodman did those things. But to say that it wasn't Michael Jordan who beat us, it was Dennis Rodman, it's disingenuous. It's not true. Take Michael Jordan off that team. The Bulls probably don't win a single game. But if you take Dennis Rodman off the team, the Bulls can still win that series, guys. They can still win that series. So you guys know the deal, man. Michael Jordan was the X factor in every single finals he played in. No one scored 100 points in that finals on the Bulls besides Michael Jordan. He played the most minutes on the team. Right? Still shot the ball decently in that finals. Led everyone in scoring. Everyone in scoring. I believe in game 3, he had 36 points in game 3? The highest output of anybody in any of the games? How many times Scottie Pippen break 25 points? 30 points, Scottie Pippen. I mean, what are we saying here, man? People act like these guys, like Michael Jordan wasn't doing anything. It was just Michael Jordan scoring the ball. The man played defense when Ron Harper went down. No one ever talks about that. Michael Jordan led the Bulls in three-point percentage shooting in those finals, but no one will talk about that either. That's right, guys. Better than Scottie Pippen, better than Steve Kerr, better than Tony Kukoc. All these guys in the finals, Michael Jordan had the highest percentage of any of the Bulls in the finals in shooting from three. Michael Jordan wasn't excellent in 96. It wasn't his greatest finals. But to try to act like he wasn't that good, and if it wasn't for Dennis Rodman, they would have lost as a joke, man. They won 3 games and nothing. And Dennis Rodman wasn't dominating in those first 3 games. I said, game 2, yes, he was excellent. And in I believe it was game 6, he was pretty good. Right? But once again, where was Dennis Rodman in game 4 when they lost? Where was Dennis Rodman in game 5? He was nowhere to be found. Right? I believe in game 1, I think it was even either game 1 or game 3, Scottie Pippen had more offensive rebounds than Dennis Rodman did. And once again, this ain't knock on Dennis Rodman. I love Dennis Rodman. He's one of my favorite players of all time. To me, I told you, I think he's the most versatile defensive player in the history of the game. And he was great on defense against Shawn Kemp. He did good defensive job. But Shawn Kemp still averaged like 25 points a game, like 11 rebounds, guys. Go look at what Hersey Hawkins was doing. Where was Gary Payton when Michael Jordan was shutting him down? Deadlift Shrimp, these guys struggled because they had to spend all this energy guarding Michael Jordan, and then they had to be guarded by Michael Jordan. Remember, Ron Harper went down, guys. No one talks about that. They'll say, oh, Nate McMillan got hurt. So did Ron Harper, man. So what the hell are we saying? What are we really saying? Michael Jordan picked up the slack from Ron Harper in game 3 and led them to the victory with Ron Harper out. 36 points, guys, in game 3 with Ron Harper playing 1 minute. Michael Jordan shut down Gary Payton on one end, and they couldn't stop him. That was game 3, guys, to go 3 games to nothing. We won't talk about Michael Jordan, the mentor of Michael Jordan. His father dying. That was the first NBA Finals that his father wasn't able to be there at. right? We all remember Michael Jordan celebrating at the end of that championship, crying and crying and crying. These are things that was going through Michael Jordan's head during the finals. People don't want to talk about this stuff, though. This is why Michael Jordan laughed when he said that, oh, when Gary Payton was saying, yeah, I made Michael Jordan work, and you know what I'm saying? He said, I had no problem with the glove. Gary Payton's an all-time great defensive player. And I'm going to say one more thing and we end on this. A lot of people don't realize, they try to make it seem like Michael Jordan and Gary Payton are like the same age or this, whatever. Gary Payton is about 5 or 6 years younger than Michael Jordan in those finals. Right? Michael Jordan was, 32 years old, I believe, in those finals. Gary Payton was like 26, guys. So once again, you had a prime, physical prime, Gary Payton. Michael Jordan wasn't his physical prime in 96. You had physical prime Gary Payton at the peak of his career, the peak of his powers, physically and mentally, skills-wise, all this stuff. He was at the peak in 96, Gary Payton, man, right? Michael Jordan wasn't. He wasn't at his peak physical condition. He was a lot older than Gary Payton. And still, he played more minutes than any other Chicago Bull in those finals and was able to wear down Gary Payton. As much as Gary Payton thought he was wearing down Michael Jordan, it wasn't enough. Michael Jordan still had enough to rebound, still be a playmaker, still lead the team. And once again, like I said, score when they needed it the most. Put the pressure on Gary Payton by attacking the rim. You guys know the deal, man. Once again, this is another Dennis Rodman. But when Shawn Kemp says that MJ didn't beat us, Dennis Rodman did, like, it's a joke, man. And for anyone who thinks that Dennis Rodman should have won the MVP over Michael Jordan 96, you weren't watching the game. And you weren't seeing the other things that Michael Jordan was doing. Remember, guys, Michael Jordan was always the X factor. Always. Those are the facts, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.